Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. I love you. I'm Ben, your host, here on the show on the go I like to call Generously Honest. Now, I just noticed right behind the camera there is honeysuckle here. Honeysuckle is a plant that grows around here, Victoria, BC, Canada, and you can eat it. I'm not going to take the whole thing, but I'll show you how to do it. So find a nice flower that's open. Okay, they're all open, but the most open one, the oldest one, you pull it off like that, and inside that little ball is nectar. Okay, a little early, so you only take one, right? But a little bit of nectar. It's supposed to be, oh wait. Oh well, yeah, break off the ball, and then you suck out the nectar. Yeah, but it didn't have much nectar. Oh, there it is. Yeah, so it just wants a little bit of food. If you're starving for food, it'll give you food. So, dudes, there's some more honeysuckle, and unfortunately, this ivy came from England. And it's invasive. It's not supposed to be here. It's destroying the plants, the trees. See what happens? It grows up the trees and then it starves them from, it just kind of stifles them, and it just takes over from other plants. But it does look beautiful, I must say. It did kind of coincide here in certain spots, but way out in the wilderness is no ivy, so we're good for a while. It's just eventually it'll encroach around the whole area and be everywhere here too, but that's okay. It's an invasive species. At John Dean Park, they used to rip it out all the time. I think they got rid of it there. Now here we are in this park. I want to tell you a story about how I communicated with aliens in this park, and I saw one. Another experience that I had. So I had a friend over there, and he lives in that direction, and at the time he was selling me weed, and he doesn't anymore, but at the time he was selling me weed and lives in that direction, and I lived over there, so I was passing through here, and I had my headlamp on. I'll tell you the first time I saw one here. Had my headlamp on. I was walking along like something like this, or there was a two ways to go. So I went like this and looked over, and beside that tree over there, no, it wasn't this tree, but behind a tree, I could see a man standing there, like just around the edge. I could see half his body, but standing there, I could see his whole body was yellow. He was yellow and he had yellow eyes. And I've seen other aliens with yellow eyes in Langford, and they can stand inside plants, the yellow-eyed ones. Maybe he was inside the tree. Oh my God, I never thought of that way. I thought he was behind the tree. Maybe he's hiding inside the tree. Because later on I'll tell you why I think that. But because I know that I've seen yellow eyes shining back at me from my headlamp, but somehow they can go out of phase and stand in plants, the yellow-eyed dudes. It's amazing. It's whatever tech they have. It's like, I don't know what's going on there. Some sort of phase of reality, out of phase with matter. Man, that's just, ooh, flowers. But I'll tell you right now, I had an experience off in this direction where I was coming back. No, I was going to there this time. So that was the time coming back from that person's house, my friend's house, and that was the time that I saw one with yellow eyes and a yellow skin. But now another time, I'm pretty sure it's probably the same group of aliens. But another time I came here and I was having problems with my roommate. He was a jerk, and I told him not to be. Like, he stole my food and he stole stuff from me. Like, he was a jerk. And it's just one of those really poor roommates that you get once in a while, unfortunately. So I was upset about that, and I was passing through here the other way, and I stopped because I could sense people talking to me somehow. But I was over there, right now it's construction over there. Well, let's go away from this construction a bit. But I was over there in the kind of clearing area before, where now there's piled up of dirt and rock because they're expanding the highway and stuff. But they're making a clover leaf there, I think, or something. Anyways, it was these trees here. It was these trees in this area, but I was standing over there. Okay? Standing over there. And now, see, the thing is, there's a good trail. I'll go down. It was this trail. This was the trail that I saw, that first one. Now, the thing is, I felt the essence of beings in the trees, and like they were talking to me, and like they were asking me questions. I couldn't explain it. I can't explain it other than that. So I just answered the questions. I felt questions coming from the trees. So, like, what's wrong with you? Like, why are you like this right now? Because I was going, darn it, or something. I was probably swearing about it. Because it happens when you're just like walking around going, man, I just remembered this whole situation back at home. Man, that's horrible. Oh, swear. And so I was kind of like that anyway. But this place is creepy. I don't like it. Anyway, this place is fine. I'm not creeped out by the fact that aliens are here. That's the thing. Most people would be. But I tell you, here it is. And oh! That's the prickle bush that just ripped apart. Oops. So anyways, this is it. Where the clearing was. And over there, here we go. So, I was walking back and forth kind of from over there to over here, going like, looking up in these trees. I couldn't see anything, but I went closer and I talked out loud to the trees, and it felt like there was somebody there. So I thought, well, there's not trees. I mean, it's obviously the trees. So I thought I was talking to trees first. Then it started like they were asking me questions like in my mind, like I could hear them repeating stuff in my mind. I can't explain it other than that. But it just this experience where, okay, I'm electrosensitive, first of all, I should tell you. So already I know I have some sort of extrasensory perception, because not everyone else is electrosensitive. I can feel radio waves. I've done my own experiments. I can sense a radio wave on, like a cell phone on. And they give off radio waves that we can detect. I can detect, but you can't detect it, and I don't know what's going on there. Some people just aren't able to, most people aren't able to feel radio waves. I can. It's just weird. So I think that has something to do with it. Maybe. I don't know what's going on there. But I know I'm electrosensitive and radio sensitive. And the thing is, that's kind of like, I chalk it up to that sort of radio sensibility, because the fact is we do give off brain waves that are radio signals, and it's very faint, but our hearts and minds, our hearts detect. Okay, there's something called heart math, and there's the scientists who got together and wanted to experiment with, like, how is it that we can see people can tell if they're being looked at by the back of the head, and how is it that spouses can tell who's behind the wall sometimes. So they're doing experiments, and they could tell who their spouse was through the wall without seeing them or feeling them or looking in the same direction even. Like, that's my husband right there. I can tell, and it's my husband. I just know he's there. And I've experienced that myself. I've experienced that with a woman named Holly. She was like just walking around the corner, but I saw her coming before she came. I could feel her coming. I could feel Holly coming around. There's Holly. For sure, absolutely, definitely, that's the feeling of Holly. And there was Holly. I felt her before I saw her. And it was a definite feeling. And you get that with certain people you know, like your mom, your dad, maybe you're close with them, hopefully. And anyways, that experience of heart math. See, it's like our hearts and brains give off frequencies, and our hearts can detect other people's frequencies because there's some sort of detector there, and the brain detects the heart and the heart detects the brain or something. That's what they came up with heart math. They've kind of got it half figured out. Something to do with extrasensory perception in that regard, radio waves. And that's what's going on there. They're feeling their husbands, that woman is feeling her husband's heartbeat and brainwave patterns that are typical for that hit for him, that he's giving off, and his wife is behind the wall feeling those energies. And I mean energies I mean physical energies, like actual radio waves and actual, well, that's about it. But because when you have electricity going through a circuit, there's an associated radio wave that gets emitted from that. It's very faint, but it's electronics have this, where if you send current down a wire, it's going to have like electrons flowing all around the wire, around the space around the wire, out like the big around it by about 3 inches. You can measure it, and so because it excites all the electrons and they go flying in circles and bonk along the way and send the current down the line, but it sends these eddies into space of magnetrons and electrons that can be detected by a little device. My friend who's an electrician has this device, and you just stick it next to a wire and the light turns on with this current going through it, and it detects that. And that's what I'm saying is our brains, okay, have current going through it, and there's electricity involved, and that is what causes the radio waves that happen. Now, I could somehow feel it from up here in these trees, and I could feel entities talking to me. So then I'm like, well, thanks, but like, this is neat, but what are we going to do about it, kind of thing. And he goes, okay, now go over there. So okay, so I go over here. He told me to go over here and squat down. And I was like, okay, there's someone around here, someone like this, like kind of out of the way, so people don't see me. And I was like, okay. So I went right about here, and there used to be this fence along here. And of course, this is all new, but it was approximately here. There was trees like this. I was in between trees like this, and I just squatted down like this. I was in between trees like this, I squatted down like this, and there's this, like, you know, well, very gentle feeling I had all of a sudden, and I felt really gentle. And I was sitting here, and there was like no wind. I remember that there was no wind that day, and I was sitting here going, okay, like they just said, sit there and be quiet, kind of thing. And I said, okay. So I had to look at this habit I have of doing this, dude. What the heck? I have a habit of doing that kind of thing, and so this is why I'm doing this, explaining that right now. Is I had a habit of doing this to wheat or some sort of grain or grass, right? So see this thing? It was one of these sitting here like this, and they go, okay, now open your eyes, and you're gonna see that thing move up and down, okay? And that was their kind of way to say hi, that we're nearby now. So they moved this up and down, but there was nothing else moving. They moved one of these up and down I was staring at it. He said, okay, now open your eyes. And as soon as I opened my eyes, I saw this thing was still, and it went, and then stopped moving. But there was no wind. There was no wind at all that night. So I was like, oh, that kind of proves to me that, yeah, there's somebody here that I can't see. So, but then I was just sat there and just chilled out. And I was like, man, I feel really good. Like, wow, I don't feel anger anymore. I don't feel sadness or despair about the whole thing, because, you know, if you're at home, it's a horrible place to be. It's just you're in utter despair all the time. It's just nasty. But I was going through that difficult time at home with my horrible roommate, it happens. You get poor roommates. He was stealing my fireworks and stuff, and food and stuff. But anyways, so I was upset about that, and then I wasn't upset about it anymore. And what happened was I started going like just this thing where I grab stuff like this, like, grab it and pull it off, grab it and pull it off. But it's a habit, and it's not really a conscious choice to grab that thing and pull it off. Although my conscious mind is involved in it, but it's just sort of a habit to just do that. Oops, sorry, plant. But I do that, and I did that, and I grabbed something, but I poked my finger right here. I poked my finger like this. My finger went right into a little hole. I couldn't see anything there, but I think his head was there, and I poked his ear. I think maybe they're squatting down with me, but somehow my finger went into this weird zone where it went like my finger was like, whoa! I was like, what was that? And it was like my finger went into a hole, and then it felt like it was getting out of phase with reality or something. And it was just like, and it was like vibrating, but oh my God, I could not feel my finger for a second, and I pulled my finger away, and it's fine. I was like, what the word? Whoa, what the heck? And I said, oh, sorry. And then we sat there for a little while and kept kind of communicating somehow. And I felt so much better. And my finger felt really weird though for like the longest time. I can't explain it. It's just weird. It felt strange to touch something from another dimension or something. Anyways, somebody, like I feel as though I stuck my finger in his ear accidentally, because later on, I was about to get up, and he goes, okay, now get ready, because we're going to send you off with a little gift kind of thing. And I'll be, what? I was like, what? And then he goes, okay, now we're leaving now. And he goes, and he stuck his finger in my ear. I was like, what the heck is that? And it felt the same thing that my finger felt, but in my ear. And I'm like, that weird feeling in my finger was now in my ear. And then it felt like he wiggled my finger in his ear and pulled it out, and